you're a commercial debt guy, right?
Sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
So a lot of the debt service coverage ratio, long-term rental loans in the single-family space go into these hybrid securitizations that are partially commercial mortgage-backed security and partially residential mortgage-backed security. And it's been interesting, the delinquency rates since we started doing this. We did the first securitization at B2R Finance, actually 10 years ago this April. Actually, I'm flying up to New York to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of that deal. Delinquency rates since that first one have been around 2 or 3%. In the last year, we've seen that go up to 5%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because what's happening is even if an investor has a 3.5% interest rate and their house has gone up 30% in value, their insurance has gone up 50%, their taxes have gone up with that, because they don't get the homestead exemptions, right? So the county's like, yeah, congratulations. And in a state like Texas, when your house goes up $100,000, that's $3,000 a year, right? Said another way, that's $400 a month, or no, not 400, $250 a month,
Yep.
right? Well, yeah, you got a $150 rent increase every year, but your property taxes went up $500 a month, and you're upside down.
I think I saw Governor Abbott say something about either a 2 or 20 billion reduction in property taxes, and that might have just been a talking point. I don't know if there's actually get pushed through, but I know they at least acknowledge that it's a problem.
Most of it's to owner-occupied housing. Most of the property tax reform and property tax relief does not apply to real estate investors.
Of course not.
There is actually, I want to say it was a 3-year pilot where it was limiting increases on investment properties. It was either 20 or 50%. So it's not the homestead 10%, but at least there was a limit, because I had some properties that doubled in value in a 2-year period. So said another way, if it goes from 3 to 600,000, right, your taxes go from about $7,000 to $14,000. I mean, and
That'll crush your net income.
yeah, I mean, so we've got some houses right now that we've sold because they were negative cash flow, and we felt like the appreciation was kind of topping out. We've got some other properties that we've like in McKinney or Frisco that are in the path of growth of where like these. Well, you see, there's like now McKinney's going to become a commercial airport.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they're building the big music venue and the water parks and the.
Hold that for another couple of years.
Yeah, right. So I feel like those. So I'm okay losing.
You looking for investors on those?
No. I'm okay losing a couple $100,000 there, a couple $100 a month, not a couple $100,000.
I was gonna say, I was like,
a couple $100 a
grown.
month on that is like an like a savings account for me.
Yep.
But there's other markets like some of these Garland, Mesquite, inner city Dallas that we're taking really long, hard looks at the net operating income and cutting the losers and then reinvesting the capital when we can find something to buy, which we can't.
Especially to your point earlier about the lack of rent growth in the core urban areas, your upside is basically diminished, and with those increasing costs, you're only looking at further negative ROI at that point.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing. Multifamily rents have gone down, but single-family rents are flat. And some people are like, well, Dallas is growing. Dallas is growing, but rents are flat or down. There are some subsets that rent the cost of rent is down over the last 2 years.
I think they mean the Metroplex is growing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's where I think investors have to be really careful with looking at medians and averages and trends, right? Because the overall average of Dallas-Fort Worth may be going up, but that's like everything from West Fort Worth to Rockwall to Plano to Waxahachie.
Yeah.
So if you're not from Dallas, that's like 400 square miles. It's the size of like twice of Rhode Island.
One thing I heard this morning.
So it's.
I was in a real estate event this morning, and I don't know if it's quite relevant to this conversation, but I never heard it. I never heard this before, and it was the fact that like, if you really look at Dallas Fort Worth right now, Central Dallas is no longer Dallas. Central Dallas is now North Dallas because of the growth to Frisco, to Prosper. And I was like, and they might have just been saying that because it was a North Dallas Chamber event and they're trying to make them feel good. But it makes sense because like you have all this explosive growth north of the railroad tracks, but like South Dallas does grow, but it's not nearly as much as like North Dallas. And I guess my overall point was just the mindset that as it expands, North Dallas is kind of like that new hub.